BNC, 100% black and brown host around the clock. Finally, news that speaks to us.
And Thursday marks the beginning of the fourth week of the war in Ukraine. Good evening, and thank you for joining us this hour on The World Tonight. I'm Kelly Wright.
I'm Nayara Haq. President Biden called Russian President Vladimir Putin a war criminal. Words the Kremlin said are inexcusable. The United Nations says more than 3 million Ukrainians have now fled their country.
Emily Schmidt reports those who remain face dangers some say leaves no place to hide.
On the 22nd day of war in Ukraine, Russia's invasion continues to move into unthinkable territory.
I think that Putin has crossed all the red lines possible.
In Mariupol, warnings came in white lines outside a theater, spelling out in Russian the word children to indicate what Ukrainian officials said were 1,200 women and children sheltered inside. It did not stop an attack. Thursday, survivors began to emerge.
It's really devastating when the Russians kill civilians, and they kill pretty much, well, they spare nobody.
The fighting did not spare what officials say were 21 people killed in Mariupol, a school and an arts club destroyed. It did not spare a man's wife and 2 children killed earlier this month trying to flee.
Yes, I've managed to bury everyone.
He remains resolute.
We will not leave Kyiv. We will stay here till the end.
Millions have fled, more than 1.9 million entering Poland in recent weeks. In comparison, since October, about 700 Ukrainian refugees have come to the U.S., according to the State Department. Sources say the Biden administration is looking for ways to help more refugees join families already in the U.S. So many seeking safety anywhere. Coming from a country where President Zelensky says everything now is a target. I'm Emily Schmidt for The World Tonight on BNC.
WNBA star Brittney Griner will now remain in Russia until May. According to TASS, the Russian state news agency, a Russian court extended her arrest until May 19th. Moscow authorities say the 2-time Olympic gold medalist was arrested last month at an airport after customs officials allegedly found vape cartridges with cannabis oil in her luggage. This is the video released by Russian Federal Customs Service. It shows officials searching Griner's carry-on bag. In Russia, marijuana is illegal for recreational and medicinal purposes. Griner is also a U.S. citizen who plays for the Russian Pro Basketball League since 2015. If convicted, Brittney Griner could face up to 10 years in prison.
Joining us now is Nola Haynes. She's the West Coast Director at Women of Color, Advancing Peace and Security. And Nola, it's good to see you this hour, but we're talking about some very bad things going on throughout this world right now. Russia and Ukraine. Russia is notorious, as you know, for not cooperating with the U.S. on Americans they charge with crimes. Trevor Reed and Paul Whelan come to mind. They're still detained there after years. So what options are at the U.S. disposal when it concerns all 3 of them, including Brittney Griner?
Well, I know a lot more about the Brittney Griner situation than the other situation, so I will use that as an example to talk about what's at stake here. So one of the large problems is that we're dealing with a situation where the U.S. Embassy isn't operational in Russia. So you're dealing with a situation where Brittney Griner was arrested and detained, and there was no counselor support, not the thriving counselor support that is usually present in Russia. So you had a situation where she's detained, she's arrested, and then there's no one at home at the U.S. Embassy. So that's one situation. And then the second situation is because she was arrested, that you have to abide by Russian law. But how much do you abide by Russian law when they have illegally invaded another country? So it's a lot of diplomatic situations that need to be sorted out. I know that the White House is involved to some degree, but at the end of the day, it really comes down to the fact that Russia legally arrested her. Therefore, we have to a large extent abide by whatever their system is. But we know that Brittney's identity is being used against her. We know that she is a pawn in this situation. As a Black woman, as a gay woman, as a celebrity, her identities made her a target.
Nola, what is it that Brittney represents to Putin about the West?
She represents freedom. She represents diversity. Russia has a law, I think back in 2014, where being gay is not exactly the Russian thing to do. So being gay in Russia is not, it's not only illegal, it's trying to be pushed out of society and culture. So that's the thing that I am most worried about, because here in the United States and other European countries, be who you are. But in Russia, they they literally have a campaign where they do not want to mimic the rest of Europe. They think that only men and women should procreate and be moms and dads. No moms and moms, no dads and dads. That's the thing that has me most worried about Brittney being there. And that is why I say that her identity's made her a target. Putin already knows that there are certain things that you can do to disrupt the campaign to win hearts and minds in this country. And one of the ways that you do that is to get Black people upset. They know that from the data that they collected for when Trump ran for office for the 2016 campaign. There's so much collected information that they have on us, especially Black Americans, and they know how to pull on those heartstrings. They know how to create division, and it's already working. There are Black folks saying, why should we care when Brittney Griner is in that situation, when there are African students that are being mistreated at the border? Why should we be invested in this war in Ukraine? And they don't even like us.
Yeah, Vladimir Putin has callous disregard for human life, as we've seen in this war and in past wars that he's participated in. When it comes to Americans, though, keeping Brittney Griner there when she is a celebrated star there and here, do we have any recourse? Are there any levers that we can pull to get her home safely?
The public being involved, that is a huge part of it. Public opinion, people rallying around the situation, bringing the situation as much awareness as possible. I was happy to see that she was trending this morning. I wasn't happy to see why she was trending, but at least people are talking about her. I think that more media outlets need to talk about this situation. I can only imagine how much it would be talked about if she were a white straight male. That would be a completely different situation. The whole world would have to stop. So everyone needs to be involved in making sure that Russia understands that we have eyes on you. The world is watching, and you need to be careful how you treat this Black woman. So I think that public opinion definitely matters in this situation. Again, I go back to the concept of hearts and minds. A hearts and minds campaign is crucial in any conflict, in any war. So the American people, our hearts and minds need to be rallied around Brittney Griner. Our eyes need to be focused on what is happening to her.
Very important information, and thank you for your perspective. Let's keep in mind that Brittney Griner is also there along with two white men from the United States. All three of them need to be brought home safely. Nola Haynes, West Coast Director at Women of Color, Advancing Peace and Security. Again, thank you for joining us.